Well, it is the 12th of May, 2023, from Los Angeles, California, here live. And I'm overjoyed that you could spend a little time with me to listen to what I'm about to share with you. This is, especially as always, a cast that is put up for the purpose of helping primarily the young people around me, because when they see what's going on in the world, all the confusion, the killing, the mayhem, the hatred towards men from other men, makes us kind of like want to go to pause. You know what I mean? What's going on here? What's going on in my world? I'm going to show you how to cope with anxiety, tension, and things don't necessarily go your way. What is it that God would have you to know? What is it that God wants you to know about how you're going to survive this? This show is especially dedicated to Black men that are suffering tremendously. And it is also dedicated to those Black men that I know that would never reach out to a person like me because they're suffering, because of some kind of shame, guilt, or whatever else might be out there. I want to share with you. I'm reading from, I had this book in my library, and it has all kind of subject matter, and you can see what the subject is there. And I'm just reading from this book. It's not a Bible, because holding a Bible sometimes offends people, but it is quoting some things out of the Bible. Matter of fact, the Bible is the only religious book that I have been trained in my mind to pay attention to. So I'm going to share with you some verses from this archaic book, the Bible, and hopefully it'll take away some of your stress and some of the anxiety that you might be experiencing today. And do excuse me if you see me drinking my orange juice. Straight, if you will. Just the kind of juice to drink on a day like today in sunny Southern California. As my Juneteenth flag flies in front of the Lucy Coleman studio windows, first of all, I take time to thank God that it appears that He not only wants me to continue to live after the multiple surgeries, well, the 2 surgeries that I recently experienced, that He has me feeling, as you can see, excellent. And I don't pretend to be Superman because I'm not, but I'm not anxious about what's going on in the world. Israel and the Palestinians, that's been going on since the Bible days and before. It's going to continue to go on. What's going on in Africa? My God. 2 homeboys, they got their minds made up the way they want to run it. So I say, let them work it out. They're working it out. And here in this country, what the news is showing us, I mean, for real, anxiety. Listen to this. Jesus instructs us not to worry about tomorrow, about food, about clothing, and about anything else that we may be confronted with. Jesus told us, don't worry, everything's going to be all right. Now you might be saying, oh, there you go. I knew you'd preach to me. I'm not going to preach to you, young millennials, beautiful little creatures that you are. You guys are just tough. You know that? I got to say it. As a 79-year-old man looking at these youngsters, man, in their 20s, these young men, these young brothers are powerful specimens of the tribe that once existed thousands of years ago. I like the way Amy Goodman says, thousands. I'm looking at brothers that are spectacular in what they're doing. And it's all because of the God that made us and framed us and sustains us. It's all because of Him. Don't get the writ twisted. Now, this is what I want to share with you. How to deal with anxiety and what the Bible says. But I'm not preaching from you out of a Bible. I'm not preaching to you at all. I'm just going to tell you what is printed on this page and so that you can understand it a little bit better, okay? This is what I do at 79 years old. You ask what I do? I kind of straightened out. I made some changes on the wall, didn't I? Yeah, because I had one thing in there that was getting on my case and I couldn't watch it another day. And so I had one of the young men help me to bring in a shelf that I had in another room. And I just fixed it up. I even have my ties here because in the future I have dress shirts. And if I have a dress shirt, I'd like to show you over the years the ties that I wore when I was a pastor. Here they are. And I have other CD work. And you see that license plate up there, PJs? That was the license plate on my Lexus that I drove, my convertible Lexus. Oh, I love that car. So when I traded the car in for my. Now I know what you're going to think. Why did you go down? No, wait a minute. Let me tell you why. I traded my car in for a Mini Cooper. That was a 2011. It was the first of Mr. Toyota's Lexuses where the roof went down into the trunk. It was the first one. And mine was silver gray, and I called it the Silver Bullet. Oh my God, I can tell you some stories about me and that Lexus. And the handsome young dates that I had with me as I rolled down the streets of WeHo and through Beverly Hills and Hollywood in that Lexus. Same handsome man that I am today. The same one. Are you getting over your anxiety? Don't let what's happening. Look. If you want more, go to school, get an education. All right? Get another job that you can handle. You can handle it. All right. You working two slaves. You're trying to hold it down. Make one of them slaves become a permanent money account for you. Put that money away in a money account that's locked in there. I don't know how sure the government's going to hold up, but the good old US of A hasn't failed me in 79 years. You are living in the greatest country in the world. I want you to know that. And since you're living in the greatest country in the world, why don't you take the opportunity that this greatest country has ever given you? Why are you anxious about anything? Listen to what Matthew chapter 6, verse 25 says. And this is Jesus talking. This is Jesus talking. I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat or drink, or about your body, what you will wear. Is not life more important than food for the body? More important than clothes? See, Jesus says, slow down, number one. If you got some rags already that you've already worn, figure out how cute they made you look and put them on again. All right? I got another one. You may not have the beads PJ got on, but there's beads all around you that you can slip around your wrist. There's always something more that you could do. Believe in you. Y'all remember when I was making these things before I had my surgeries? You saw how poor I was looking? Look at me now. That's why I thought that I put these videos up, because I want to show you a man moving up. Now, if you see me start to look raggedy after the surgery, there was something wrong. You see, there was something wrong. That's why I was looking raggedy. But just because you're a senior citizen, you're not supposed to be looking raggedy. And too many of my fellows and my sisters are looking raggedy these days, and they need to clean themselves up. And maybe they'll lose their anxiety because they're putting all of their attention in the wrongest of things. Oh, when I was a pastor, I used to tell them, live loosely, because my pastor taught me that. He said, live loosely with all this materialism around you. Listen to me. If you learn how to live in the state of mind that you find yourself in right now, and you're clothed and in your right mind, what makes you think you will ever want to change? Start digging you for who you are right now. Right now. I think of the many years that I would have enjoyed my life more if I were thinking the way I'm thinking today. And I got to tell you, it is a wonderful thing when you can change the way you think about 99.9 tenths% of everything that you ever knew. I'm rethinking everything. That's what God gives you. Hey, does that seem like a difficult task? It isn't. That's why God gives you years, especially the ones that God has chosen, because they're going to keep the species, the human race, going and lively. And the true sayers and the true seeks of a tribe are the ones that never try to become popular, never ask for a helping hand, because Jah is our help. He's your help. You see what's happening over there, Israel and the Palestinians? Every day they're killing each other. You see what's happening in Europe? Those Ruskies over there fighting the people over there and calling each other Nazis and names. You see what's happening at the foot of our border? Passing of this article. All these people stranded, they're going to send them back to their countries. They don't have a job, any food, nothing to eat. Everything is crazy. Is that enough to make you nuts? Hmm? I know. I know. I'm doing this today to show you how to survive it. Jesus said, don't take any thought about all this stuff. You know, Jesus was saying, don't pay that any attention. He said, don't be looking at that. You know what the prophet is saying? He said, look at me. Do I look like I'm suffering? Well, I'll say this. Look at me. Do I look like I'm suffering? Had to answer that. Why aren't I suffering? You know, my friend asked me, he says, every day you watch NBC News with Lester Holt every morning when I get up, and Amy Goodman with Democracy Now! Those are the two shows that I watch. And feel free to comment if you want to. I watch those shows every morning because it gives me a very liberal perspective of the world that I live in and a very conservative perspective. And of course, if I looked at Fox News, I'm sorry, that would be a very twisted perspective, because they are letting you know all out what they stand for. And just like Tucker told me last night, Tucker said, we coming up on a new format on Twitter. They never stop. You can't stop them, but how do you get over the anxiety, right? That's what I'm talking about. The news media, how do you get over that? Well, look at Matthew chapter 6, verse 26 and verse 28. Jesus is still talking. And he says, look at the birds of the air. They do not sow or reap, nor store away in barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. So, what is Jesus saying here? Jesus is saying, look at nature itself and see how nature restores herself. Why aren't you? You get it? Why aren't you restoring yourself? And you can't do it without his favor. Because I've told you on these past things that I've done. Before I had my surgery, I said to God in each case, if you have something more for me to do to help the offspring, the heritage of my people, of my tribe, take me out of here, because I don't need to be here. My wife is gone. My children are grown and on their own. Ain't never been to jail. Shoot. Take me on wherever we're supposed to go with this. Give me life and take me from this death. But he keeps leaving me here. So I'm going to tell you how I got over my anxiety, and I want you to pick up the lesson because things are going to get rougher. You think it's rough now. Things are going to explode with all of us in the middle of it. And what I'm trying to do is to feed you with the spark of life so that you can know that you can make it. Because it's going to get rough. You think those people coming across the border are going to be stopped? You've been listening to the news, right? You think you can stop that? Let me predict what's going to happen. There will be an attempt to stop it. That's what's happening now. But nothing's going to stop the natural migration of a species from what is their land of grazing. I know the people want to leave their countries because of the corruption that's in. What, my God, look at Haiti. Look at the news on Haiti today. Look at Haiti. Gangs have overtaken 3/4 of the city, and you can imagine the part of Port-au-Prince that's protected, probably the part where the rich and famous live. The death rate, starvation rates going up because the gang members are running everything. What was his name? Hamburger? Wow. Well, but I'm trying to show you how to survive it, right? How not to have anxiety. That's what I want to look at. Take one day at a time and don't borrow trouble. Look what Matthew chapter 6, verse 34 says. Jesus is still speaking. As a matter of fact, this part of Matthew is from the Beatitudes. And Jesus says, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Isn't that wisdom? Don't worry about tomorrow because tomorrow's going to bring its own difficulties. And you know, most old people I know, they spend all their time, oh, honey, what am I going to do if I ain't got this? You know what you're going to do? Nothing, because you're not going to have it to do nothing with. That's what. Jesus was a true brother. Jesus said, don't worry about tomorrow. And he's right. Why? Why are you worried about tomorrow? I don't get it. Half the people I know are worried about something on tomorrow. Ooh, I like that. And then he says, each day has enough trouble of its own. Now tell me he was not the master teacher. Tomorrow's going to bring its own mess. You know, the doctor did, he gave me a clean bill of health when I got out of the hospital. Then I got home and one of my doctors said me something. Oh, we think we saw something wrong with, you may have diabetes. I contacted them. I said, are you crazy? You got no diabetes? What's the matter with you? And took my test the other day again, and it came back, no diabetes. Why did they tell me that? Trying to plant that negativity in his head. I said, I ain't got no diabetes. See, somebody tell you something, you don't just start eating it up. You know, when I was pastoring the church, I told the people, I said, what did they think I was behind that pulpit doing? That's what I'm wondering. What could they have thought I was doing? What were they looking at? Oh, listen to him. He knows it's be quiet. Listen to this. It's too late. Philippians chapter 4, verses 6 and 7. This is Paul writing to the church at Philippi in the Mediterranean complexity way, there where the Apostle Paul and the rest of the disciples traveled by boat from region to region. Philippi, a great city. The Apostle Paul writes in this letter, and he's writing to a bunch of believers, people that call themselves Christians, people that said that they believed solely in God and all of that. Well, Paul wrote to them, and this is what he said: do not be anxious about anything. Ooh, wait a minute, wait. This is in the Bible. It's in the book. He said, it's in this book. I got my Bible here. He said, don't be anxious about anything. Listen to me, millennials. If you say you believe in the God that I believe in, now, if you want to believe in, there's only one God, so you can believe in any God you want to. If you put your belief in any God, you know who that God is? The God that I'm talking about, because it's only one. So you go ahead, you can paint a face on it, you can put a feather on it, you can do all that. We all talking about the same entity in the first place. That's all we're doing. The same God that made oranges, that caused people to be able to squeeze the juice out of that piece of fruit and put it in an orange container and give it to me to drink. Mm, mm, mm. Inspired Paul to write them in Philippi and say this: don't be anxious about anything, but in everything. Now hold it. Because I recall when I went to Talbot Theological Seminary and we were going over this verse, because I was saying to the professor, what is this? And he explained the kind of language that Paul was using. He was a brilliant thinker. And he says, don't be anxious about anything. That covers everything, because he says in the next portion, but in everything. See, and you know what's in that everything? All the anythings that you got hanging in your head. Follow along with me. I'm trying to teach you something in wisdom. All right. He says, by prayer and petition with thanksgiving, present your request to God. Now, I'm going to go back on that because if you're anxious about anything, you can't do this. See, you can only do this if you're not anxious for anything. You see all this stuff coming on you? They're shooting these missiles, hitting these houses blowing up, people dying instantly. Don't worry about that. Maybe don't worry about that. See, number one, you can't do nothing about it. These powers that be to run these governments and things like that, they're the ones doing this. They're the ones that you voted the democracy in, the religion in, the educational system. Why do you see people going down to local city councils complaining and they put the city councils together? All this stuff is going to fail, people. They say they can't control their children. Why should they? Why should they control the children? Control them for what? I know you think PJ is losing it. He's not. I want you to think with me. All right, you relax. Now look what it says. And I'm reading from Philippians chapter 4, verses 6 through to verse 7. If you want to pick up that Bible at home that you've been ignoring, I'm showing you how to lose all of your anxiety. Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything by prayer. In other words, are you praying? That is, and petition. See, are you meditating upon God and asking God or telling God everything about yourself? And then he says, in other words, he says, while you're doing this, this is a state of mind that you must be in. He says, with thanksgiving. In other words, you're grateful to God for the clothes you got on your back. You're grateful to God for that messed up family he got you growing up in. You're grateful to God for all the mess you see yourself in before you continue to petition him. Wait a minute. He says, present your request unto God. In other words, when you meet all of those criterions, then you can go to God and try to get God to hear you. All right? And the verse ends up like this. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. He's absolutely right. Because when you are no longer anxious, you are at peace. You are at peace with God. You are at peace with you. You are at peace with every situation. You are at peace with the universe. Now, I'm going to tell you, when I was in that hospital, I learned how to be at peace in pain because they were taking me through a procedure. I will not repeat it here again. You have to listen to all the other ones. I talked about it before. But that doctor was inflicting pain on me. And I had the peace of God that these verses just spoke about in that hospital, going through it. Young person, PJ would never lie to you. I ain't lying to my babies. Hey, put religion down. Put all this I'm holier than thou thing. Put it down. Throw it out. Get in touch with the God that created you. You hear me? Y'all hear me? Don't you forget this. Now, cast all of this anxiety and anxiousness and pain that's in your head, because they teach you babies in this generation, oh, don't listen to the negative stuff, only listen to the positive stuff, because see, the negative stuff will hold you back, but when you listen to the positive, well, I'm going to share something with you. You can't live in this world without negativity, nor can you live on this planet without positivity. You've got to have them both. And anyone that would tell you anything different is a liar. He's just a liar. You got to have them both. All right. It's up to you. First Peter chapter 5, verses 6 and 7. It says First Peter because in the Bible there are two epistles of Peter. It is said that Peter wrote these. This is from his first epistle. And let me tell you, it was a letter. It was not an epistle. Somebody broke it down into books and chapters and verses. And that way, for our easy accessibility, instead of having to read an entire manuscript in order to find a passage. So whoever put this chapter verse line upon line together in the Bible was a brilliant human being, and they should thank God for doing it that way, because I can find what I'm looking for in a jiffy. In a jiffy. I'm going to prove it to you. I said, because I'm using this little thing and it has everything written out. But I'm going to show you what it looks like if I went here in my book in front of you, because some of you have these things, but you don't know how to use them. I had my page pre-set up on another page, so I'll put, this is my Bible page marker. I put it here. This holds together what I was reading. Now, I said in that booklet, that was what? 1 Peter chapter 5, verses 6 through 7. 1 Peter would be found in the New Testament, not the Old Testament. And if you see all these tabs on there, those are Bible tabs. That helps you locate a book far quicker than, like I said, reading a whole manuscript to find a portion. So I'm into the New Testament, and my Bible is pretty well worn. Here we are. Here's First Peter, and that was, I'm showing you that I'm reading it from here. That was chapter, let's see. Oh, chapter 5, verses 6 through 7. I'm getting older. My mind is slipping. Chapter 5. Chapter 3. 5. Yes, here we are. All right. Let me get to, okay. Oh, okay, I got it. I had to, because my Bible is well worn. I want you to see. This is the way a pastor's Bible is supposed to look. You see all those marks and all that, all that. This was my preaching Bible, so you forgive me. It's pretty well worn. I've from the time I was 23 years old up until I guess 2018 when I had my open heart surgery, I was in this book every day of my life. Every single day of my life. I never spoke in tongues, filled with the Holy Ghost, and all that kind of, I call it crazy stuff. I never thought like a crazy man because I'm the highest of God's creation. Why would I go crazy and go ooh chala bang bang? Tonto comes on a Honda, and I don't know why the heck I just said that. Now, a lot of people fell for that gimmick, and God bless them. If they could, if it helped them succeed in life. But I never did that. But let me read what it says. First Peter, I keep doing it. Chapter 5, verses 6 and 7. This is the way it reads. It says, because this is marked out. Humble yourselves, therefore, under the mighty hand of God, and he may exalt you in the proper time. And verse 7 says, casting all of your anxiety upon him because he cares for us. Now, this is to God. Humble yourselves under the mighty hand of God. I'm still humble under his hand. And whatever God says of me and speaks to me, I'm going to do. And I humble myself. You get the point? Read the book if you're going to tend to it like you got a brain in your head. Don't make up. You don't have to make up what you think that means. It says, get down before God. Is this anxiety bothering you? Are you going fickle pickle over what's happening on this planet? Because all these people are killing each other and lying and going to court and doing all this mess and you losing your mind? Hey, baby, don't worry. Everything going to be all right. Every time they show these film clips, you put a camera around somebody suffering. The first thing they're going to tell you, I ain't got nothing. Of course you ain't got nothing. The flood washed it away. The bomb blew it up. I'm out of orange juice. No, I'm not. I got some more right over there. Why am I talking to you like this? I'm trying to tell you, don't be anxious about things. Just don't. Now, you can discover the secret of tranquility, and I'll end up everything with these verses. In Psalms chapter 37, verses 3 through 7. All right, since I'm going to end it up, I'm going to follow it and go there. Psalms chapter 37. Look at that. I went almost to it directly. Man, I haven't forgot how to use my whole preaching Bible. It's nice. Ah, don't you just love to? Whoop! That's just where it's. Now I'm going to show you. I'm going to try to hold it up so you can see it somewhere. My preaching notes. See all those notes? That's how I use mine. I didn't play with this thing. Now, 3 through 7. This is how you can lose your anxiety. Believe me on this. It reads like this: trust in the Lord and do good. Y'all hear me? Trust in the Lord, I do, and do good. You know what good is, right? All right. And then it says, dwell in the land and cultivate faithfulness. Are you living where you living faithfully? You know what I mean. All right. Let's go to the next one. Delight yourself in the Lord. Do you delight yourself in God? You like the conversations when they come up? You glad to be a part of his tribe? There you go. Come on. There you go, boy. Don't get caught up in this stuff, man. Don't get caught up in this stuff. And look what it said. And he will give you the desires of your heart. He has given me every desire of my heart to date for everything in my life. Everything. Everything. And he'll do the same for you. You have to slow down and get in touch with God. It's not about joining no religious organization. It's not about that. Now, some of you need that because some of you are just rectangles, octangles, tangle wangles. Some of you need help. Wait a minute. Let me give you some more. I didn't read all the verses, did I? All right. Trust in the Lord and he will do it. I like this. Now, verse 5 says that he says, you shouldn't be anxious about anything because anxiety is not going to make me wonder how. Okay, there it is. That's it. I have to tell you like this. Anxiety is not going to do anything to tell you about how you're going to leave this world today because you may live for umpteen years. Why are you worried about when and how you're going to leave? You have no control over that. Oh, well. What do I learn? I learned that I'm to trust in the Lord, verse 3, and do good. Trust in him and do good. In verse 4, delight myself in God. I do. Verse 5, commit my ways unto the Lord. Everything that I do is unto his cause and his favor in my life. And verse 7, be still before the Lord and wait patiently for him. Now, let me give a little explanation of this to some of you, because this wait patiently is what messes up this current generation that God has allowed me to remain here in, thinking things through. Me and my sister Donna, my brother Ross, I haven't been able to get him in the past couple of days. I don't know what's up with Ross, but I hope he's all right. Last I heard, my brother said he couldn't walk anymore, and his body was deteriorating. Deteriorating. He wasn't speaking negativity. He said he did it himself in life. He said, Junior, you're doing as well as you're doing because the life that you live. He said, you was a pastor. I remember when he told me, I remember when you was in church and doing all that. It's that is what I pray for my brother too. I hope he's all right. But when you see, listen, if you have someone that has lived as long, and I'm talking about encouragement, because a lot of people, glad that you bring that up, because a lot of people think that the ultimate objective of life is living. No, you got that wrong. The ultimate objective of living is life. All right, let me tell you why I said that, because you're not following. Listen to me. The ultimate objective of living is life. If you do not live from day to day, then when it comes time for you to depart this realm, if you don't live, then you cannot say that you live life. Do you get it? A lot of my life was soaked up, and I want to say it in a way that you can understand it as a retired pastor. My life was so sucked up, sucked, S, okay. It was so sucked up, immersed in rules and regulations and customs of which were foreign to my behavior and myself, but I was sucked up in a system where all of us, it's kind of like that movie about the Matrix when the people was, you know, you all are in a matrix and well, I don't think that I finally popped out of the cocoon until maybe 2014, 15, around there. And I was born in 1944. So you go figure. I'm thinking clearer than I have ever thought in my entire life. And thank you for joining us. If we don't, especially you younger people that will watch this years after I'm gone, and that's the joy of doing these lives, because I can talk to you like you my babies It's all right. It's all right for the person to grow up and to get old and come to the point where they're going on to life. Because I can never be in this bodily form again. I won't be able to be the power to house this. I guess I can say I'm housed in this body. But when you look at this body, that isn't me. You want to know something? The truth? And I've never spoken like this on any of my casts. I don't know why I'm saying. Maybe that's all of us are. But we have been left, I think, not what is meant in this, what it was meant to do. I want to say it right. What it was meant to do. Because men have taken it and twisted it and has tortured us with their foul interpretation of what this supposedly means. I've always lived what I'm sharing with you, especially when I became a believer at the age of 23 and I married a young Filipino woman. She was 21, a year and a half younger than me. She was baptized a Catholic. She forsook all that to be with me. I had to marry her because I needed a wife badly. I needed a woman to teach me how to be with a woman. She did. I didn't know. I'm a gay man. That makes me think, why is a statement such as I just made so offensive to certain people? But it wrought fear in my heart during my young, 12 on up. You had to live a certain kind of way to survive. You had to be a certain kind of dude, you know? And I just tell you, I find it an immense joy to find so many men like myself that are free enough to love and to behave themselves and make us all proud. Enjoying my life. And that's what I want you to do. And I want you to get over the anxiety, the anxiousness of all of this. Let me see if they left me with any other words. Yeah. Proverbs 12 and 25 says, since I got less than a minute, an anxious heart weighs a man down, but a kind word cheers him up. Boy, that's in my Bible. How about this one? Proverbs 14 and 30. It says, a heart at peace gives life to the body, but envy rots the bones. Haven't lied about that. Man, the Bible ain't never told a lie. No, not in the sense that I'm not talking about these transliterators that get into the old text and twist it up. I'm talking about that. And those of you that belong to other parts of knowing God and loving God, I'm sure your calling to wisdom has the same kind of opportunities. Look at my last verse. I'm a few seconds over, but I got to share this with you. Um, Proverbs chapter 17, verse 22. It says, "A cheerful heart is good medicine, but a crushed spirit dries up the bones." That's right, because when I laid on that operating table, I said to the doctor before they put me out, I said, "God is good." One of the little nurses said, "Yes," and they were all males. He said, "Yes, God is good." And I said, "Look what he's given me. All males to cut into this black man's veins and vessels and go up into his main pumping muscle and to keep this man alive." I says, "You do your bit, and if God does his and takes me to the light, let me go." Be anxious for nothing, but in everything, give it over to the homage to God.